I don't know what it is in the air right now, but it seems like everybody's trying to buy a home. Considering the fact that there's so many buyers right now, probably because rates are going to be going up at least 2 more times before year end. And for those worried that they may have missed those low rates, a lot of buyers are kind of clamoring now to try and get a piece of it. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about is some typical buyer questions. One of which, what is Mello-Roos? What is it exactly? So in a nutshell, Mello-Roos is a way to finance something, okay? It's a financing instrument. So Mello-Roos is a part of CFD. CFD stands for Communities, Facilities, District. So let's say you live in an area like, I don't know, San Dimas, right? And they decide that they want to put in a brand new opera house. Okay, you guys with me so far? Now let's say this opera house, it costs $119 million to build, okay? So what they're gonna do is they're gonna take that money, the $119 million, and they're gonna try to figure out, all right, once this opera house is built, specifically who will stand to benefit the most from this opera house being here? Answer, our residents. So let's make them pay for it. So what the Communities Facilities District is a special tax, a special assessment above and beyond your property tax, which it goes to pay for what it is, for a specific thing, okay? So in our example, we're using that specific thing to be an opera house. Let's say that opera house costs $119 million to build. They will target an area, and every home in that area will be a payor for the opera house for the next, whatever it is, 30 years, 50 years. Now that's crucial to remember because unlike property taxes, which go forever, CFD or Mello-Roos actually does have a finite time. Generally, it's at least 30 years. So it ain't something that goes away quickly, but it does eventually go away. So it was started from inception as an idea or a methodology for cities to finance projects. An opera house being one of them, a new amphitheater, a stadium, movie theaters, something the city will feel will serve as a benefit to the citizens in the city. However, they don't have the money to do it. So what do? They finance it, and they tax all their citizens accordingly through a 30-year assessment on a CFD tax. Meaning if you look at your property taxes, you will have ordinary property taxes. And then above that, you're going to see a special little note that says CFD tax, this amount. And that will be added to your normal property taxes. And will continue until the CFD is paid off. Now, generally they run for 30 years. So what that means is, let's say you have a house in that area that has a special CFD tax and you've been paying on it for 5 years, right? And then you sell the house. You need to tell that new buyer, oh, by the way, you got 25 years of Mello-Roos CFD tax left on this particular tax because of X, Y, and Z. So generally, yes, that does need to be disclosed. But interestingly enough, the CFD or the Mello-Roos tax lately has come to play for a variety of different reasons. And while what I explained was the impetus for the creation of the Mello-Roos, which in a nutshell is lack of financing by municipalities, with the desire to create something of value for their citizens, lately, especially in 2003 and 2004, considering the huge builder boom, it was a way for builders to build without the money to do so. Now that's crucial to remember because generally, when a builder wants to build a development, they either get the loans for it or they get the money for it. Well, now we have a third option. What they'll do is they'll do the Mello-Roos, exactly what it was that we described in our scenario for the opera house. In this scenario, it will be for 220 brand new homes in, let's say, Hesperia, California. So in those 224 new homes, that home development will have a name. It will have some sort of complex registration with the city. Once that's registered and they figure out exactly how much it's going to cost, they may have a meeting and say, you know what, we can do this one of two ways. We can raise the money, we can borrow the money, or we can finance the project. Let's finance it. So a lot of the builders that didn't exactly have the money, and the reason I mention that is because yes, it's true. Mello-Roos is not exactly liked. Most people don't like it, and it is something you really need to pay attention to, because if you buy a house that has Mello-Roos and you didn't know, that will dramatically affect the payment that you thought you had on that house. So pay attention. What I can tell you is generally the ones that screw up the most are realtors. They always make mistakes, they always think they know the best, and generally they forget that little CFD assessment there. But, so going back to the builder analogy, with the new homes, what they did is they would take, whatever it costs to build the homes, by the number of homes actually built and sold, and tack on a CFD tax for 30 years, or 40 years, or 20 years, or whatever it is. Generally the average is 30 years, but that would be to pay off the actual project. And that would be attached to the house until it's paid off, or rather until that house has paid off its share. So let's say there's the total project is $200 million, and among the $200 million are 3,000 homes being built. Well, each one of those 3,000 homes will have a CFD tax for 30 years, most likely. And each one will be responsible for 1/3,000th of the fee for the entire project, which is the Mello-Roos. To recap, generally it was created as a design for municipalities, as a way for municipalities to provide further value to their citizens by giving them something they can use, something they can enjoy. A new library, an opera house, an amphitheater, a movie theater, something they knew their citizens wanted, but they didn't exactly have the money. So, it was for the government to finance projects, and lately has been used by private party builders who didn't have the capital and wanted to make a quick buck, and they wanted to build a new housing complex without the funds needed to do it. So that's what Mello-Roos has been used for lately, and as a result, that's why, by the way, guys, it has that stigma associated with it, is because of the way that builders have been using it, although I can tell you that's not what it was originally intended to do.
Been already, huh? Interesting. The first thing to decide is, do you want to go with a traditional builder who typically has set home styles and options to pick from, which doesn't vary greatly, or do you want to go with a custom builder? A custom builder can do full custom, where you pick your plans and they design everything from scratch, or you can do semi-custom, where you look at another plan and kind of tweak the home to fit your needs. The next most important thing is going to be picking your lot. So you want to look for a lot that's the best lot that you can possibly get in whatever neighborhood or area you're looking in. Because when the market goes down and people are having a hard time selling their home, if you have the best lot, yours is going to sell faster than everybody else's. The next thing is picking the right options. Now, with options in new construction, a lot of people get caught up. They go into the model home, they see the granite, they see the gorgeous cabinets and all the decorative moldings and the fully custom basement. But in options with new construction, not everybody can afford to get every single option, okay? So the options that I would recommend focusing on are going to be the options that will give you more usable square footage. For instance, if you can get a bump out on a morning room or a family room or add a conservatory, but if you do that, you might not be able to afford to finish the basement with the builder, do that. You can always finish the basement later on your own. The next thing is going to be to focus on negotiating the best possible terms for you. So when you're negotiating with a builder, a couple things you want to think about. Number one, builders like to typically keep their values stable and increase them throughout their building process. So they don't like to give huge breaks on, off the sales price, because it's not good for the rest of the homes that they're building in the development. However, builders will negotiate on options, because the options that they charge you, the money, it doesn't cost them as much as what they're actually charging you. So a lot of times if you want to negotiate, that's kind of the angle you can use with them. Another tip is timing. You know, builders a lot of times have quotas and sales schedules that they want to hit with their targets, and if you can focus on going in the last day of the month, the last day of the quarter, or even the last day of the year, you're much better to get a better deal. Some builders also build what are called spec homes, which are homes that people do not have the choice to be able to finish the options in them because they're already completely built. And if you find one like that that's called a quick move-in home, a lot of times they will discount those deeply because you were not able to pick the options in those homes. Next thing to think about is going to be your financing. If you go with a traditional builder, a lot of the traditional builders have in-house lenders that they will tell you you need to use in order to get special incentives because they're going to make money on doing that loan there. Same thing with settlement companies. A lot of builders will try to tell you you have to use the loan officer and you have to use the title company that's particular in order to get the $10,000 towards closing or $20,000 in options. Okay, that's traditional builders. Custom home builders, some of them don't have as deep pockets as the big traditional builders do. So they will have you do what's called construction perm financing, where you basically finance the construction up front and then you do a permanent loan at the end of the process. Now, one thing that I find most of my clients who wind up buying new construction had no idea of is that you are actually allowed to have an agent work for you and represent you throughout the whole home buying process when you're buying new construction. And the crazy thing is most builders will actually pay your agent's commission, believe it or not. Now you might ask yourself, well, why would a builder pay the agent's commission? Well, here's the thing, agents have a lot of buyers, and builders want agents to bring buyers to their communities. The ones who think they don't need the agents, I can promise you, if they're not paying the commission, agents are not taking those buyers to those communities, and they're doing everything they can to try to get them to buy somewhere else where they're actually going to get paid. So agents can really help, not just with helping you pick your selections, but they can help with your negotiating, they can help protecting your interest, maybe recommending things like getting a home inspection. A lot of people think, well, why do I need a home inspection on new construction? You need a home inspection, okay? The county is not inspecting that house the way an inspector is going to inspect that house. So what I recommend is get a pre-drywall inspection. You have them come through the home before the drywall goes up, and you get to see everything, all the studs, all the electrical, all the plumbing, all the roughing, the hookups. Make sure everything is going well. Now when you buy a new home, most builders give you the 1-year home warranty on the home, which basically warranties everything. So what I recommend then is do another home inspection. As you're living in the home, you're going to have things come up. You're going to have things that you need to have fixed, cabinets, whatever, little cosmetic stuff, or there may be something big. So keep a little list, and at the 11th month, call the inspector back, have them come out, do a full inspection of the home again, and now you have a full, pretty concise report to give to your builder and say, look, everything's warranted, I want you to fix everything. You know, and a lot of people who are buying new construction also have homes that they need to sell before they can actually purchase the new construction. And it can be tricky when you have to coordinate the two deals together, which is why you do want to try to have an agent who can help you do that too, because if you're going to sell a home, you're probably going to be better off having the agent represent you.
Damn. What the hell? It's not been real bad. It's like one spring. Two springs. USB. USB. 2 springs.
let's take a look at this. With a lot of competition out in resale right now, I'm noticing a lot of families, and maybe you're one of them right now, that are starting to contemplate buying a new home construction. And new home construction is great. I mean, you're going to be able to have that new home smell, so to speak. You're going to have everything brand new in the home. The roof is going to be brand new. The plumbing is going to be brand new. The electrical is going to be brand new. And it's going to be your new home with nobody else that has ever lived there, all brand new. So there's a lot of things that are really exciting about new home construction, and there's 6 things that you really want to know about when you get ready to work with a new home construction agent. Actually, before you even go to new home construction, I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there right now. Find yourself a trusted real estate advisor to represent your best interest whenever you proceed with buying a new home construction. And here's why. I'll break it down really quick. If you have a builder, you have a new home agent, and you have the builder's lender and the builder's title company, and then there's you. How many people are representing your best interest out of those 5 people? Because it sounds like to me the first 4 are representing the builder and the builder's best interest. So make sure that you got a trusted real estate advisor that assists you in representing your best interest. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about 6 really important things to ask a new home construction. The first thing that you want to ask are, what kind of financial incentives do you offer for using your preferred lender and title company? Because builders are going to want you to use their preferred lender because they want to stack the cards in their favor. And they're going to want you to use their preferred title company because that's who they work with. So see what kind of benefits you can get, because it's not very common that a big production builder, somebody like a KB Homes or a Pulte Homes, Toll Brothers, Party Homes, those kind of builders like that, production home builders, aren't really going to be negotiating the sales price of their homes with or without a trusted real estate advisor. They're kind of like CarMax. What you see is what you get when it comes to the price. Custom builders, on the other hand, tend to be more flexible. The smaller, more local builders tend to be much more flexible as far as the sales prices are concerned. At the same time, if you ask about financial incentives, some of those incentives can actually knock off thousands of dollars, if not like $10,000 in buyer closing costs, or in other forms of incentives at the design studio that you get to put in different product into your home. So it's really, really important to know what kind of incentives, if any, and that's the key word there, if any, that specific builder is offering. So know that up front, okay? The second thing that you want to ask about is, what are the standard finishes? Now, it should come as no surprise when you walk into a home, and Toll Brother does this really good, so does William Lane Homes. When you walk into one of their model homes, your mouth just drops. You see all this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things in these homes, from the home staging to the upgrades to the amenities that they put into the house. It's just stunning. It's breathtakingly gorgeous. At the same time, a lot of that stuff is not standard finishes, and that goes for all kinds of builders across the board. They're going to wow you, and they're going to drop your jaw in awe of looking at the model homes, and they know that. So whenever you're asking and you're working with your trusted real estate advisor, you need to be very, very clear on what are the standard finishes of that property. And you don't want to go too crazy at the design studio either. So ask your trusted real estate advisor that you're working with to buy your new construction. Ask them, hey, what's going to be cheaper to do after I get my new home? It's something like, consider like an AC unit even. If you go with like a high-end unit in the building phase, that unit might cost you $4,000 to $6,000 for a high-performance AC. But whenever you go aftermarket, and maybe you just got a standard one that's going to work just fine for now, but if you want to upgrade to another one, you might get us for little as like $2,500 to $3,000. There's markups on a lot of the stuff at the design studio. Some things make sense to do in the construction phase, some things do not make sense to do in the construction phase. And by having a knowledgeable, trusted real estate advisor working with you in your best interest, upholding your best interest, they're going to be able to guide you through different things that are good to do now in the construction phase or later after you close. The third thing that you want to ask about and know about with the new builder is, what are your long-term plans for the community? Let's say that they just broke the dirt, right? Let's just say they just have the model homes up right now. Obviously, that community is very, very new. So take a look around, ask your trusted real estate advisor, find out from the new home agent, what are their plans? How are they building it? Are they building it in phases, as many of them do, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and so on? And where are these phases located? Because what's going to happen is, if you're one of the first people in there, 2 things are going to happen. Number one, if you're one of the first people to buy in the community, generally you're going to get a better price on that property as compared to somebody that comes in at the last phase wanting to buy the exact same home, and it normally costs more later on as they are finishing the community. That's number one. Number two, the other thing that's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of construction vehicles, a lot of noise, and a lot of stuff going on for several months or a couple of years until they finish that community. So you need to know what the plans for the community are going forward, so that you can actually come to your own determination if that's something that you want to live through for the next few years. So the fourth question to ask is, what are the HOA rules and regulations? So an HOA, in case you don't know, an HOA is a homeowners association. They're sometimes also referred to as a CIC, which means common interest community. HOA, CIC, interchangeable, same thing, homeowners association. Okay? You want to know what the homeowners association's Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions look like, also known as CC&Rs, and their bylaws, and get them from the builder up front, so that you can go ahead and review them carefully and make sure that you're going to be okay with the CC&Rs in place. I mean, sometimes an HOA has some really screwball rules, and sometimes they really don't. I mean, a screwball rule could be no storage shed in your backyard. So, I mean, that kind of hurts if you need storage and you don't have it, or the ability to put it there is not so cool. Some HOAs are more restrictive than the others, but just know this, because sometimes people get this bad taste in their mouth because they've heard of negative things on the news about an HOA, and it's just a very small sampling of some HOAs gone bad, so to speak, as compared to the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of HOAs that are available across the United States. The purpose of an HOA community is actually to help you preserve your property value. That's why you have the CC&Rs, is so somebody can't come in next to you and paint their house purple and then put some pink polka dots on it and a splash of lime green just to call it a day. By not being able to do that, that actually helps your community maintain a continuity and also maintain your property value. That's the purpose. Number 5 is asking the builder, what warranties do you provide? Now, there's 2 warranties that are pretty typical of a lot of builders that you should know about, and they're pretty cool. It is one of the cooler parts of having a new home construction. Number 1, most builders will offer a 1-year workmanship warranty. So essentially like a manufacturer warranty of sorts, right? So for 1 year, it's like having bumper to bumper coverage on your brand new home. So long as you didn't go in there and start punching holes or kicking holes in the wall, they're gonna be okay to come out there and get that stuff fixed for you. So it's pretty cool to have that kind of protection. You wanna be clear on what that builder defines as their workmanship warranty and what that means to them, and be clear on what they are and are not going to cover in that first 1 year. The second one is really cool because it's a 10-year structural warranty. So with a 10-year structural warranty, you want to be, again, very, very clear and explicit on what they cover and what they don't cover, so that you know what's going forward. And ask them if they have any additional warranties that they're looking at. The 6th question you want to ask is, can you connect me with some of your past clients? So whenever we talk about a builder's past clients, where would we find them? Well, there's a couple of places we would find them. Number 1 is if you're walking into a new construction community and they already have some homes up and some people living there, you might simply want to go by and introduce yourself and let them know, hey, I'm thinking about becoming your neighbor in this community. Would you please share with me what your honest to God opinion was of working with this builder, and what were the good things and what were some of the things that I should be keeping an eye out for to know what's going on. Now, working with a trusted real estate advisor, once you make up your mind what community you're going with, now that trusted real estate advisor just might go out and introduce themselves to the neighbor and ask them those questions, so they have a better idea of some of the things to look for in the process if there are some things that are a little bit of off that somebody say, so that they can make sure that it doesn't happen to you. At the same time, they're also going to provide you the great feedback. Hey, I talked to a few of your new neighbors, really cool people, the Jones family over here, the Williams family over there, the Duffy family over there, and they're real excited that you're going to be moving in. So you're already going to be moving into your community with maybe some new friends.
influx of new construction, particularly spec homes. It's when a builder fronts the cost for construction. They already own the lot, they're building the house. On the speculation, they'll be able to find a buyer throughout the process to sell it to you when it's done. Simple as that. The problem right now is for builders who didn't buy land right, land cost is increasing. And still builders, while they're pushing envelopes and selling properties 20, 30, 35, even 40,000 higher than resales, there's a cap on how far they can push that number where it's not going to appraise out. So a lot of these builders, unfortunately, have to cut cost. So either they're bringing lower skilled labor, They're scaling back on the finishings, they're scaling back on the design, whatever it may be. And also be aware that new construction doesn't necessarily mean top quality. So here's the first tip. If you find a new construction house and you fall in love with it, it's a spec house, you can kind of see where it is, you know the direction it's going, and you want to submit a contract. Do not, and if your realtor says anything different, punch them in the face or fire them. Don't really punch them, but fire them. Draft a contract to state, my inspection contingency period will not initiate until I have receipt of CO. What is a CO? It's called Certificate of Occupancy. That means that builder has worked with the city or the county, depending on where it is. They've gone through all the building inspections, they've passed final inspection, and now the city has said it's safe to occupy. Just because they have CO doesn't mean the quality's there, because there's a lot of things that the building department may not see. So you need to structure your contract to say my inspection period starts, or my contingency period starts, X amount of days from the time I receive CO, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days. Then bring in third-party home inspector that you trust to come in on your behalf and do a full inspection just like you do on a resale. Because there may be issues with electrical, there may be plumbing issues, AC issues, the walls may not be square, the kitchen counters may not be installed correctly. These are small cosmetic things, right? Building inspector doesn't give a shit if the granite counters aren't installed right. What they're looking for doesn't meet code standard. So you need an inspector to go through and cover your ass. You need to then go to the builder and say, we're gonna extend my inspection contingency period, here's a laundry list of items, you need to fix it before I move forward. If a builder does not authorize you to do this, or a builder does not allow you to structure your contract to say your inspection and contingency period, which protects your money, cannot start after CO, walk away. Big red flag. A builder should be able to stand behind their product. And if there's issues, they should be willing to fix it because they're selling a brand new home. So make sure you do that. Step 2, just because it's new, again, doesn't mean it might be a better quality than an existing resale. So go out and look at homes that have been renovated. Like, for example, no-nonsense renovations, and compare the level of quality, finishing, especially for ones like we do that are permitted, and really see, do you see the price difference justified for new construction? Now, there's been cases where I've sold our renovations higher than new construction because new construction could not provide the level of finishings that we could for the same price point because of what they paid for the land and what construction costs are. The reality is, it costs more money to construct a house than it's going to do a full gut renovation. So think about that. And lastly, understand the builder is. Make sure they're not just some random person that all of a sudden linked up with a GC, has no experience and is building homes. Find out who their crews are. Find out who the GC is. Find how long they've been building houses. See examples of other versions of their house. Don't just see the model and be like, oh, this is gorgeous. Of course it's going to be gorgeous. It's jazzed up. Find some examples of finished properties. Talk to previous people who have bought houses from them and ask them, how was their experience? Do your due diligence, do your homework, cover your ass, and remember, new doesn't always mean better.